जीवन के इस दौड़ में हम काफी चीजें गंभीरता से नहीं लेते। हेल्थ, वेलनेस और फिटनेस उनमें से एक है। लेकिन अगर हमने अपने जीवन को उन लोगों की नजर से देखें जो इतने भाग्यशाली नहीं हैं, तो ये प्रतिमान बदल सकता है। चलिए हम फिट रहने के लिए शपथ लेते हैं। हम शपथ लेते हैं कि अब अगले 100 दिनों तक हम रोजाना 6000 कदम चलेंगे, क्योंकि अगर ये सुपर हीरोज इतनी कठिन परिस्थितियों के बावजूद ये हासिल कर सकते हैं, तो इस लक्ष्य को हम भी पा सकते हैं।
Going into army was my only dream. I was very clear in my mind since my schooling days itself that if there is a profession which I need to join, it is to wear the olive greens. I got commissioned in 1997 December from Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and I was commissioned to 7th Battalion of the Dogra Regiment. I had just put in, I think, not even a year and a half of my service when I got the opportunity to be part of Operation Vijay, which is generally known as Kargil War. I got injured in 1999 during Operation Vijay. The mortar weapon which they fired upon my post, I was badly hit. Within fraction of seconds, I was unconscious. I was lying like a pool of blood, and blood was oozing out. My men picked me up from there without worrying about their own life, without worrying about that enemy can directly hit and kill them, without worrying about the facts that they need to cross over a river stream which is flowing behind my post. This is the type of camaraderie which we have in the armed forces, the team spirit which we carry, that task in front is more important, your life is not that important. The generally visible thing which everybody knows, that I don't have a leg, was not a direct impact of the injury. It was because of the gangrene set in my toe, and the part of the leg, knee onwards, was amputated. There are various invisible injuries all around the body. The hearing loss is there, intestines are partly removed, there are shrapnels in my torso, in my groin area, in my amputated stump. If there is a life given to me, there is a reason. This is a new challenge for me, and maybe one day I will not only live a life which will inspire me, but many more. I thought that if I do something which is the most challenging or difficult task for somebody who doesn't have a leg, now that task is some running, and that task, if you convert it into long distance running, becomes even more tougher. Now if I do a long distance running, that means without legs I am proving the ability, the fact that ability is a state of mind. So that's how I picked up. In 2009 I became the first amputee in India who started running on artificial leg, half marathons. And later in 2011 I started running on blade. That is how I am known as India's first blade runner. 2009 was my first half marathon, Airtel Delhi half marathon. Until today I must have done about 26 or 27 half marathons. I started a group, the NGO, the Challenging One, where I have converted the mindset of various amputees. We are connected around 1700 plus amputees across India today. With limited abilities, they can create wonders which various people, those who have intact body, can't do, and these guys can do with limited abilities. What is the state of mind, or what is the inference of people towards disability? What is their purview, perception towards disability, which was mostly a insecure, negative perception. So people used to stare on me because they perhaps have never seen an amputee and a blade. I never care what people are thinking because I am focused. Now, this is the only action which is converting their mindset. The perception shift has happened because of action. The amputee who used to be taken as not good for anything is now an inspirational figure. All this happened because action. फौज ने यही सिखाया है, बातें बनाने से काम नहीं चलता है, काम करके दिखाओ. I will not say fight against challenge, I will say grow out of challenge, because that is how you improve yourself and that is how you become much stronger and better person and a human being. So ability, difficulty, challenges, it's all mindset. So for me, these difficulties, I could convert it into opportunities. And that is how today my amputation, my not having leg is my biggest strength.
चैलेंज आपको फिट रहने के लिए 100 दिनों तक रोजाना 6000 कदम चलने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करता है। आज ही इस चुनौती को अपनाएं और अपने हर कदम से एक बेहतर फिटनेस की ओर आगे बढ़ें। यदि आपने अभी तक अपने स्वास्थ्य को गंभीरता से नहीं लिया है, तो दिलशाद मास्टर कुमार की कहानी निश्चित रूप से आपको फिटनेस की ओर आपका पहला कदम बढ़ाने की ओर अग्रसर करेगी।
I felt the lump for almost 8 months. I didn't do anything about it. So I finally was dragged off for a test to the doctor by my friend. And I realized when I saw the doctors walking in and out, and they said, oh, you need another test, you need another mammogram, you need another ultrasound. And then I realized there was definitely something wrong. I went for my first surgery, which turned out to be unsuccessful. It was not, it didn't get the entire tumor out. So there were 2 surgeries back to back, and that kind of took me a long time to recover. I went through radiation, and then I lost 8 kilos. It was a really bad time. I was feeling so sorry for myself. One morning I woke up and I told my husband, I'm going for a trek to Everest Base Camp. And he was like, okay, so you're gonna have to work for it. So I said, yeah. So he said, all right, so come on, let's go for a walk. I could barely walk 50 meters. I just literally less than 50 meters, and I just crumbled. I was huffing and puffing. And I said to myself, you know, Dilshad, when the body packs up, your mind will get you there. So I literally trained only for 2 weeks for that trek. And from not being able to walk 50 meters, I was walking 5 kilometers by the end of 2 weeks. I barely made that trek. I really barely made it. It was the hardest thing I have ever physically done in my life. It was so extremely challenging for me because I was at my lowest physical shape at that time. So what motivated me really was the fact that I had to snap out of this depressing state I was in.
Me, Sarah and Dilshad, let's see how this goes.
My family is extremely encouraging. My father-in-law is one of the greatest mountain climbers India's ever had, and my husband is into adventure. My daughter at that time was, I think, 2.5 years old, so she didn't really have much of a say in the matter. It was actually one of my first treks ever, and it was at my lowest physical self. It was probably one of the tougher treks that people have done. And I realized that if I didn't set my standard high, then I would not push myself hard enough. I realized I love the mountains. I realized that There's more to life than 10 feet by 10 feet cubicle with 6 television screens in front of you. I realized that I needed to explore nature. For me, that was really, really important. And I'm happiest when I'm in the mountains. I can stand there and I can talk to these peaks for hours together. I think it's very, very important when you're going through something like this is not to have people around you who pity you, not to have people around you who sympathize with you. And I think that is where this mental fitness comes from. And a lot of it comes from within. You have to just believe that you can do it. That's all.
कैंसर से जूझने और फिटनेस की ऊंचाइयों को छूने के बाद आइए एक ऐसे किडनी ट्रांसप्लांट सर्वाइवर की कहानी पर चलते हैं जो कई मैराथन खत्म करके फिटनेस का ब्रांड एम्बेसडर बन गया है।
I was always into fitness. Was it aerobics, was it yoga, or simple walk? I used to do that. I think it was ingrained by my parents to kind of be fit. 2004 where I was diagnosed with kidney disease, which was chronic kidney disease. 2010 I had my transplant. That was a very, very big step. I mean, like, you have undergoing a total transformation of your body. The rehab was very, very difficult. First 6 months were confined to a room with mask and a lot of restrictions. I absolutely felt like I was in a dark tunnel and I did not see a light. But I think I was very fortunate to have at least my doctor who started supporting me. Initially it was every month that I used to see him, then 3 months. So every 3 months that he saw a progress, and that's how I think he also got motivated and we became a team in terms of, you know, putting myself into a 3-kilometer run in 2012. So I think that was a bigger transformation. I think that was a turning point. I remember the first walk that I did and I was super tired because I was like underweight, and seeing myself that I do not have the stamina or endurance or maybe the energy to walk 15 minutes. From that day onwards I thought, like, whatever, I am not going back from here. There is only way forward. So I started doing it very slow. That half an hour became 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, where I gradually moved up to about an hour, and then it became 2 hours. To myself, I thought, you know, I will train my own self.
She started self-educating her, so that was her first step towards her journey. And so self-educating, as I said, she read a lot, she interacted with a lot of people, she interacted with a lot of doctors. And the sad part is most doctors could not help her because they knew about the process, they knew about the medication, but how to get beyond that to be able to live life is most people could not really support her with.
I started with her like conditioning training first, then releasing work because she had a back injuries, very tight, stiff back. So I focused more on her upper back to release. Then we worked on the core conditioning. Then we started strength training to build up some muscle mass and strength. She is very careful with her nutrition also. So I guide her for the nutrition also. And it's only possible because of her dedications.
Of course, my family was my backbone. They were not totally away from this journey. They were a bigger part of this journey.
She's been the major cause that I took up to fitness. I started running and cut down the way one used to live a life and transform the way going forward.
She was confident that, yes, she has come out really strong. That's the time we started seeing her, because that's the time she was, kind of an inspiration.
Today she is like an icon. as far as fitness is concerned, because she inspires a lot of people. She's an influencer. So I would define her journey as somebody who was a fitness enthusiast to somebody who is now a fitness expert.
In 2014, I did my first 21 kilometer. I think that was the biggest achievement, I would say, to myself, because to be thinking about 21 kilometers in itself is quite big. And when I achieved and I reached the finish line, I know for myself, I was just crying, and I said to myself, I did it.
Pledge to take 6,000 steps a day for the next 100 days for a better you, a fitter you, and a healthier you. Up Chalega India.
I think walking is something which is the first step towards a fit and a healthy life. 6,000 steps a day are not that much, I feel, if you really want to stay fit and healthy. So I would really urge everyone to take this challenge and be in sync with the fact that Up Chalega India.
For me, there's nothing more than being a fit and happy mother. I think whether it's regular exercise, regular eating habits, I think it's so important to go out there, even if it's a 40-minute walk, even if it's like trying to just be careful with what you're eating, some sort of activity that keeps you going. I think that is what will keep the energy level up.
I'm extremely kicked about this challenge called India Steps Challenge. Every single day I will walk 6,000 steps. My days are starting now, so come join me.
The India Steps Challenge is a great way in making the country healthy. So let's get healthy. Join me. Let's do 6,000 steps every single day for the next 100 days. Get healthy.
I support India Steps Challenge, and I urge each and every one of you to walk 6,000 steps a day for 100 days. Each step will take you towards better fitness and better health. Up Chalega India.